What's your story?
Hi, my name is Michael Raymond, and this is my story.
Okay, so tell the world actually, where are you from?
I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Okay, also what part?
Well, I'm from a place called the Gap, the Goose, and the Grove. That was Chef Highway.
Some long streets.
Yeah,
From
yeah,
the east.
yeah. The East out there. That's before the East was known as the East. You know,
Yeah,
it
but that's
kind
the
of
hood
stopped
part
in that
though.
area.
Yeah,
Huh?
that was actually the hood part of where
Yeah,
you
that
grew
was
up.
very
Like
much.
they had good parts, and that
Right.
was the goose and the gap and all
Right,
that.
right. I stayed in the scatter site, 6544 Chef Highway. That's where I grew up. I went to McDonald 40 Elementary.
Gotcha. So see like the transition of the east, there were certain parts that was still bad, but they had a mall, movie theater,
Yeah,
and
that
everything
came
like that.
later.
You
That
know,
came in the 70s, I want to say. And but one thing about the East, when I was growing up, when I was a young boy off of Chef Highway, uh, we we moved to another place. We had a 2-bedroom apartment, 6 kids. Then my mom and dad found this bigger apartment. It was 4 bedrooms for all of us.
y'all
And
moving on up,
yeah,
huh?
we was moving on up. But the place where we moved was called the Grove, Pecan Grove, and it's no longer there. But it was very well known. Out off of Chef Highway in Wilson area.
So, before it's your knowledge,
Uh-huh.
what do you think happened to the East?
Well, it transitioned. There was a lot of white flight back then because as it became a suburb of New Orleans, a lot of whites. It kind of got into that racial, uh, those racial tones and stuff like that. Where you had whites here, blacks there. And when the whites were out there, then the blacks started moving. It was a very beautiful area because we moved out to East Rockton Circle after the Grove, and that's near Reed. And we really had moved on up. And but our neighbors, we were all mixed. It was a very mixed neighborhood, and just people started to leave. And then the laws, I guess, started putting apartments and all kind of things out there. The Section 8 came and it just started. People started, going out there. They wanted a better place to live. But when they moved out there, it brought a different element too. That's all.
Gotcha. So, we're going to bring it back 20 plus years.
Yeah.
We're going to get into your story,
Yeah.
Because, everybody has a story, everybody have a past.
Yeah.
And
We all
the
have
future.
a past. Yeah.
So, most people might don't know that, but you actually went through a time in your life where you had alcohol abuse and drug abuse. So, we got to speak on that part.
Well, it was drug abuse. I never really was an alcohol drinker and at all.
Okay.
It was drug abuse. What happened was I was a guy that was known to be outgoing. I love partying. People that watch this video will remember me from the days of Nexus, the days of Club Discovery and Atlantis and all of those things. Us older folks, I was out there and I really enjoyed being outgoing. And I found out that, I could have fun and stuff like that. So one day I was out and I was with some friends and someone introduced me to a drug called cocaine. I thought I couldn't get addicted to it. I was a young man. I said, man, I'm going to enjoy myself with y'all. And they said, okay. And we all got high together and I went home and I couldn't close my eyes, that night. And because I was, on the substance and, it really scared me, but it didn't stop me from trying it again. And I thought I could never get addicted. Well, in a little while I was, it went from partying and having a good time out. And one time, took away 10 years of my life. I never was incarcerated for it, but there's a big story behind it. I'll give you some of it. And, I didn't know if you want me to tell you now.
Tell it all.
All right. Tell it all. Well, I'll tell you this. It went, the abuse went to terrible things like loaning my car out to get drugs. And I was when I got married, I'll give you this, when I got married later on in 91, me and my wife, she had no idea that I was addicted to that substance. And
so, were you addicted to, I'm like cocaine, or you were
cocaine.
Are you actually enhanced to like crack?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I did go to crack. Yes, I did.
So actually,
free base,
what that
everything.
transition was
everything.
because that's kind of like, but it's not different things, but it is different things.
It is different. It is. It's a much more addictive substance.
Okay.
Than just regular cocaine. If a person ever says that they were on cocaine, that's one thing. If they were on crack, that's another thing, because it will take you to your knees. Cocaine, I didn't have the problems that I had. When crack was introduced to my life, it took me to my knees. It's 6 months later, I was in a rehab. It took me down. It took me all the way down.
What year was this?
That was in, I want to say like 1990. Because in 95, I went to my my last rehabilitation center. I was married in 91. In 1991, I was married. 1992, I was in a rehab. East Lake Hospital. It's right next to Methodist Hospital in New Orleans East. And my lovely wife, who's with me still today, she's my wife. She's with me today. I just thank God for her. I thank God for a godly woman. I thank God for her family. I thank God for my friends, my true friends that stuck with me throughout it all back then in those days. They could see something in me that I could not see in myself. I encourage people today and teach them how to get free from those substances, because there's a lot of people out there suffering right now. It might be a different drug, because I don't even know if that's out there anymore, but there's heroin out there, there's pills, there's everything out there right now. And people need to be set free. And, I know one thing with me, it took a whole lot of falling. I tried everything. But before I tried, I tell people like this, I tried alcohol. That wasn't it for a little while. I said, let me switch up. I tried everything, cigarette smoking. That wasn't it. I tried everything to get off the substances, but until I tried the Lord, that's when I got free. That's when I got free. And he said, he whom the Son shall make free shall be free indeed. You'll be totally free. But I had to be responsible to the church. I had to be responsible to other people in order to get off. And, here I am today. So this is my story.
Right. Yeah. So, actually, I'm like, what year did you, give up?
Get totally free.
Yeah, get totally
free. In 1999. I had, after all of the relapses and falls, that's when I got free. 1999.
So,
yeah.
So, actually, what year did you get fully, into church?
Church?
Yeah.
I started, I got a lot. The church, I became the pastor where I am now. That happened in 2007. 2007. So, until today.
Gotcha.
And so, that's where I am. I started in ministry. It was a place called Galilee Baptist Church Christian Community Youth Against Drugs Foundation. Pastor Thomas Taylor and his wife. I don't know if you remember this, or if you old enough to remember. Back in the 90s, there was these red, green, and yellow houses in the lower 9th ward where they would wash cars every day. And My mom said, Michael, you need to go to that place. It's a spiritual rehabilitation because you've tried everything else. You've tried all of the treatment centers. You need to go there. So in 1995, I wind up going to Galilee and Baptist Church. And Thomas Taylor was the pastor. And he'd teach us the word, and his ministers would teach us the word. And I'm going to tell you, it got into me. I relapsed one time. He brought me back. He said, son, get back in here. I'd been in there 11 months. I went there 11 months twice, and then 6 months. I went 11 months twice, and then 6 months. So I fell 2-3 times before I got myself straight. And before, the Lord got me straight. And here I am today. And I wound up even not only being in the program, but I wound up being the minister over the program. Thomas Taylor passed in 1997. And I was a young understudy minister still trying to get straight. Y'all, I had fallen, and I preached my first sermon, and I went to the bottom line. I always tell that in my church. I preached my first sermon, went to the bottom line, a club in New Orleans, and everybody in there said, what in the world are you doing in here? Aren't you a minister? They said, what you doing in here? I said, well, what you doing in here? And then somebody went back and told the pastor, and he set me down for 2 months. And so I had to learn you can't do that. You got to, start living right. So, my life got straight, though. I got on track in 1999. That was the last time that I used drugs or anything.
So 1999, so
That's
24 years of being clean.
Yeah.
Well, I want to give you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you flowers right now while you can smell it.
Yeah, man.
Well, everybody got past. People,
Yeah, we do.
So
yes, we do.
So like just for your whole journey, like being one pastor, and all. Tell the world actually, what is one average day like for you? Right now.
An average day for me is tending to a lot of needs, boards. I work a lot with children. I've worked even with the Department of Justice, with the Bureau, the FBI New Orleans office. I've never been in jail or nothing like that, but back in those days, my life was terrible. But when I say working with them, I do prayers and stuff like that whenever they have an event. That's it. We do. I know in today's community, you say that, they're thinking you're doing something else with them. But no, I was, I do prayers whenever they have the events. They would ask me to. I'm on different boards in the city. I work with juveniles. Right now, my day consists of working with young men that have gone through the juvenile system, but they're outside, they're at school, but when they get out of school, they come and see me. We have a mentorship program with juvenile court, and I've been there since January. I have a number of businesses. I'm also a licensed insurance agent in the city of New Orleans. I deal with Medicare Advantage and helping those seniors that are retired to get their health insurance. So, I do a number of things, but thank God, though, that, I had a clean record, that I wasn't set back too far, because I know sometimes when people get a record, then they get set back even further. You got more hoops to jump through in life. But the Lord had blessed me that I'm able to continue my life and have a great living today.
Gotcha. So, being one pastor, every pastor is different.
Yeah.
But the way how they put their word out. So,
yeah.
I want you to tell us on camera right now, what's your message to the people, but who is interesting and hearing, about your journey, and also but the way that you give your word.
I tell people like this: God first, family second, and everything else will fall in place. God first, family second, everything else gonna fall in place. when you keep the order, when you take things out of order, it will mess your life up. You know, people say, I don't need a preacher. I don't need this. Well, I don't know what they mean by that, because the word even tells us, how can they hear without a preacher, and how can he preach except he be sent from God? You know, and we all have frailties. We all, no one is perfect. But one of the things is that we're striving to be like the Lord. We're all trying to learn how to make right decisions instead of wrong decisions. You know, we all need encouragement. We all need a leader. Everybody who's watching, you're a leader somewhere. You're a leader to your children. You're a leader to your community, to your brother, your sister, family. Somebody's watching your life. And somebody's watching my life. You know, and we all need leadership. We all, I want you to know, I can help you. I encourage people to get in touch with me. If you know somebody that's dealing with any type of issue, if you even have children that are dealing with issues, you know, those are areas that the Lord has blessed me with to help people, you know, and I've helped countless people that are even part of our ministry, people that are not a part of our ministry, because I help a lot of people, more people that are not a part of our ministry than those that are, you know. So I want you to know that put God first, family second, everything else gonna fall in place. You know, and I often encourage them this too. Don't tell help how to help you. If you want help, you got to be able to follow what's being taught and what's being trained and said.
Gotcha. So you know, just everyone has if there are like theories and like different ways of how the pastor is received, because so many people think like if the pastors are like getting over on the people, they scam us, they like taking the money from the church, like what's your message to those people that think
I'll tell you this. I'm the same way. I'm a person that needs to know what's really going on. I'm that kind of person. There are a lot of people out there that's watching me right now. I'm sure you want to know what's really going on. I would encourage you and employ you. Make sure a church has a board. That there are checks and balances in place. That you're meeting, that there's not one person that's over everything, because they got a lot of ministries where one person is over everything. And if it's like that, it could be very well going the right way, but then it could very well be going the wrong way. So there must be people in place and the board is accountable to the congregation. The pastor is accountable to the congregation. And you don't have all of that, those wrongdoings. That's the way we are. That's the way many of our churches are. I'm not a large church. No, we are an average size, but we have accountability. You must be accountable. You can't trust yourself all the time, with everything, because there's some areas where you might not be good, or you're going to need help.
And also, I think people put like pastors
on pedestal.
High pedestal, like
yeah.
The pastor should be making any mistakes. And they also sometimes actually put the pastor kids on the pedestal too, like, you the pastor child, you can't be doing that.
Right. And that's the furthest from the truth, because we all sin and fall short of the glory of God. People don't pay attention to it, especially in our community. Let's see, the African American community. Everybody's different. If you look at we call the Anglo church, or people that are in a predominantly white church, our church is mixed. We have, and I praise God for that, to have different ethnicities within the church. We don't look at each other that way, white, black, Hispanic. We look at each other as children of God, and we all one family. You rarely see that today. And I've always prayed that that's what I want the church to look like if I'm pastoring it. But you have a lot of folks out there that need to know that they can make it. They can make it in this life. Explain say that last part again that they said you were just talking about. I lost my train of thought.
And with the kids as well, if they put the pastor kids, you know.
Oh, they put them on a pedestal.
They feel like,
yeah,
you know.
Yeah. In our community.
If they feel like a pastor child should like make mistakes or different things like that.
Yeah.
And also, like, you know, like church is supposed to be like, you know, somewhere like you're supposed to get judged. Like, if only God, man, they could judge you. Like, you supposed to accept everybody come as you are.
You're
but
supposed to.
But like, if you the pastor, the deacon, or whatever, you know, you're on a pedestal. You can't be doing that.
Right.
Pastor can't be doing this. Pastor can't be doing that. And
they don't. You know, you asked me a question earlier too. You said, "What is it like being a pastor on an everyday basis?" And I'll tell you, man, people do. They'll quit. You know, they'll go to another church. They call it church hopping. You know, somebody get upset in a church or somebody made a man, I'm leaving this church. Hey, these people hypocrites. Well, look, everything that's outside of the church is inside of the church. I know somebody missed that, but let me tell it to you again. Everything that's outside of the church is inside of the church. And the church is a hospital. It's a place where everybody needs a prescription. Everybody needs to see the great physician, the Lord, and hear a word, including the physician or the pastor that's in charge. You know, I tell people, you can come to my office and I give you a prescription. You know, I give you a word that'll take you and help you in your life. We can pray together, or if you need even more, and you got a chemical imbalance, say like depression or schizophrenia or something like that, we'll get someone that specializes in that too, you know, to go with it. Because that's another thing. You know, there's so many things, man, you know, that I deal with being a leader of a church, is that some think that you don't need nothing but prayer. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. You know, people putting pastors on pedestals. Well, it's good to take care of your pastor because he does do a lot for you, you know, but and he's there, but he doesn't get to leave. He doesn't get to walk out if you make him upset. And people are testing him every day.
Oh yeah.
They're testing him every day.
Yeah, they got some people just think like the pastor is Jesus.
Yes,
they can only the
And that's
pastor
something.
only do so much. Like, you know,
Right.
Like some people think, you know, if the pastor is a doctor, a lawyer, you know, most pastors are good on the counselors, but just people put the pastor like just on his pedestal and just think
he's
everything. Answer for everything.
They do that, and any pastor can tell you that if a man called by God, a woman, I tell you this, they can tell you that they have to be everything to everybody, you know, in order that they would win some, you know, and we're out there because we really do love what we do. It takes a special person to be a pastor. You know, I've gone through things, but not only, I'm an avid learner. I love what really got me into this. I love helping people. That's why I'm in insurance. I love helping people. I don't go collect money or nothing like that, because the insurance that I deal with, Medicare Advantage, is just enrolling people, you know. I don't deal with all of that kind of stuff. I don't deal with churches, checkbooks, and all of that kind of stuff. No, there are pastors that have to do that. You don't have the people to do what they need to do. But you need people in place. I'll just give you some points. You need people in place. If there's a church you're visiting, to be that everyone can be accountable to. Pray for your leader, because they go through things too. You know, the same things you go through, they go through. You know, so keep them in prayer because they need it. You know, and but be encouraged, y'all. You can make it in this life. All of us are ex-somethings. Every last one of us are ex-somethings. Think about it. Think about what's going on with you right now. Now that you know what I've done, think about it this way. What have you done in your life that makes you an ex-something? That's something we all have to think about, you know. But be better as you go forward, and get underneath leadership. Please don't forsake that. Get underneath leadership. How can they hear without a preacher? And how can that preacher preach except he be sent from God? That's what the Word of God tells us in Romans. So Romans 10. So, you know, be encouraged. And I want you to know your past is not your future. Your past is not your future. Keep going forward. You know, there's plenty more to this, and I'll be talking about it in a book later. And
my next question is, tell the world actually what's next for you.
well, right now, I have Faith in Fitness will be coming out because I just lost 60 pounds, and we're going to be dealing with faith in fitness because older people, you know, as we get older, and in my 57 years of living, I never thought I could lose weight. I give you another part of my testimony. I was born with one kidney, born with one. I was took. I had my thyroid. My thyroid has been removed. So losing weight was something that I thought I couldn't do, but I've been in touch with somebody else that you've had on your platform. Mo Philippin was my first trainer, but this lady Carol Flowers was a blessing to my life that taught me how to eat and taught me how to lose weight properly, and 60 pounds have fallen off since then, and it kept off. I haven't been to a gym since, we're in March now, I haven't been since before Thanksgiving. So, and maintaining, and have not gained another pound since. I have not gained 1 pound. I'm going lower, but I haven't gone higher. So I thank God for that. So Faith in Fitness, you're going to be seeing that coming out. Look at it on all the platforms. And I have my publicist who's working on things right now to put all the platforms together for me.
Gotcha. And also, but last but not least, tell the world actually, what can they find you at on social media? Everywhere.
You can find me on Pastor Mike Raymond on Facebook. You can find me on I Am Mike Raymond on Instagram. And just want you to know all of the platforms are coming together. Right now I haven't put out a lot on it, but follow me there because we're rebooting everything. My publicist is putting it together for me right now, everything, so we can launch it in about a month, everything. So you all go ahead and get to those platforms now. So get in early because a lot will come out and we will be helping a lot of folks. So I want you to be in that number. Okay?
All right.